Good morning. Good morning. Hey, David. I don't know about you, but here on my side, here in California, it's raining. So I got my rain jacket on, because it's just one of those days. And it seems like it is pouring in California. It's pouring for the 49ers, but I hope you have better weather and maybe better news. So how are you doing today, David?
I'm good. I'm good, buddy. Um, I know, Brandon, I unfollowed us on Instagram. The world's ending. The sky's falling. Um,
It is. It really
the
is.
big volcano over there and not too far away from me in Yellowstone just went off. I mean, the whole world's just done. We're done. That's it.
Uh, we joke, right? But and on wood and everything close, but you know what I'm saying? It's just there's just possibilities, and it's always never ending. And the reason it's like that is because it's kind of like when you look at the 49ers and you look at them as a calendar. There's seasons, right? There's the part where there's everything's happening, everything's flourishing, right? And then you get to a point where it starts to get a little colder and the news is drying up, and then you get spurts of rain. Well, right now it's raining, and the news is Brandon Ayuk. And why? Because there's nothing else going on. And then you think, okay, here comes the flowers. Things are getting better. The draft, right? April, right? May brings flowers, right? April showers, May flowers. And then you get to a certain point and you're like, okay, it's going to get really hot because training camp's coming. You got the 4th of July, right? And this is when some contracts might get done, fingers crossed, right? But this is the time of the season that you're going to get spurts of something, maybe speculation of this or that. And we got 2 things to talk about, I guess. Well, 3 things, really. David, Tom Brady. I know you don't like him. I know you don't like him. But the man calls. I think the Niners kind of have to do it. And I think they have to kind of do it. And they have to do it because 3 times, it's kind of, this is, even if they just sign him and they sell a couple of jerseys, I think it's like karma in a way. It's like we missed him when we should have, we whiffed on him, like beginning of his career, and coulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda. He's not coming. It's not going to happen. And I really think you're right. Names have a lot to do with it, but because his middle name's not Richard, right?
That's right. It's Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. It's not Richard. He doesn't qualify. Kyle won't have anything to do with it. But that
But
doesn't mean he can't be the backup quarterback.
and that's, I think, what would be ideal. And I think that would get those demons, the skeletons and Levi's to, they say we were buried, built on an Indian burial ground. That's not a joke either, folks. It's not fun to talk about like that. So we called Tom, or Tom calls us. We sign him to a backup deal. How much would you sign Tom, or how much would Tom be willing to come and play, even if he was starting? What's his price for the Niners? And the Niners aren't the only team he said he'd play for either. He said he'd play for multiple teams that are vying for the Super Bowl, and then he threw out the Raiders and the Patriots. So let's make sure everybody's clear to that.
Um, the Patriots. That's actually interesting. Is it because Bill Belichick left? I wish I was in Tom Brady's head right now. You know, like, is that why you'd want to go back? But I, honestly, it would be like a veteran minimum, and at his age, that veteran minimum would probably be somewhere around 10 to 15 million because he my age. I ain't young. So,
Because the Vikings just signed Sam Bradford. Well, Sam Bradford. Oh my
Donald.
gosh, Sam Darnold. Yep, same
Darnold,
area.
yeah.
See, he was here. I loved him. Now he's gone. I forgot all about him. Right? It's not the name on the back. It's the 49ers on the front. Right? So you have him making $10 million. Tom Brady would have to ask for at least around that, right?
At least. I mean, with him divorcing Giselle and probably going for alimony because she made more than him, he probably doesn't need it.
So what I'm thinking is this is all speculation. It's not going to happen, but there is a possibility that he will sign with another team. And there's a real true chance that he'll have that team in the championship game. So if he makes it at least to the championship game, kind of like Brett Favre and, with the Vikings and the Saints game and stuff, if he gets that far, is it at least worth it?
I really don't think so. If he's coming back, why come back for, an extra year glory? What if his skills have diminished to the point where he just doesn't look good? He think about this. He doesn't need to tarnish his legacy by coming back and being bad for a season. He's Absolutely. Got the most Super Bowls of any quarterback. And yes, I'm a firm believer that Joe Montana is the GOAT because they are two totally different eras they played in. The NFL Tom Brady was in is a quarterback-friendly league. A lot of rules favor the offense and favor the quarterback not getting hurt, right? Joe Montana, the rules weren't like that. They didn't like that. They still had a late hit on a quarterback, but it had to be painfully obvious. And they still the helmet to a quarterback was outlawed back then, but everything else flew. They could just smash the guy, snap him like a twig. All that was all right. Nowadays, no, you cannot do that. So this is why I say Joe Montana is the GOAT, because he played in a more brutal style football than Tom Brady did.
I agree. And this is why I think somebody at late of age or as old as Tom Brady is currently, if the man still has the athletic ability and his arm hasn't lost the ability to still throw it deep. See, there was that moment people thought he didn't have it in his last couple of seasons, and he proved them wrong. There was games where he come out. The last game where the Niners played Tom Brady, they really took it to him, and Tom Brady, he wasn't showed up, but we had a very fast defense, and it was coming at him very quick. So with our offensive line being the way it is, I don't know if that's going to be beneficial for somebody, like Tom Brady. But if he is protected the way he is now, as quarterbacks are this time, in the NFL, I could very well see him coming in and being a statue and still playing very well because the rules are going to protect him. You're not going to touch him because, one, he is the face of the NFL. He has the Super Bowl rings. They're going to keep him up. And the only thing that's going to really tarnish his legacy would be his athletic ability. If he comes out there and starts throwing a bunch of picks because he's scared or something like that. But I also would think that this would all have to, they'd have to see this kind of stuff in practice too. They'd have to see him come out there and see him throw it a little bit. It couldn't be like a phone call deal where, oh yeah, I want to come play for you. And then they're going to sign him to whatever he is asking for. But I think there's a possibility, but what I'm a little bit now not worried about, but considering, what do we do with Brock Purdy? Do we ask him to sit down? Is he a downgrade or Tom Brady being an upgrade coming in? I would have to say the only thing that Tom Brady would be bringing at this point would be the Super Bowl rings and maybe the favoritism of the refs. To be honest with you, the refs, again, aren't going to let you beat up Tom Brady out there. So what do you do with what do you do with Brock Purdy? Does he only sit because he's injured? Do you tell him to take a seat right now because we're bringing in Tom Brady and we're going all in? I mean, what do you do, David?
Yeah, in the most critical year of your contract, your future, Brock Purdy, we want you to sit down because we're bringing in this old guy that might not be able to get it done, that might not be able to score it out when the offensive line fails, which this is something that's happened a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't feel like it's a good idea. Our team isn't built for a pocket statue quarterback. We're not built that way. If we had a beast O-line, I'd say let's do it. We'll be able to keep him clean for 5-7 seconds every time.
Yeah.
But we really don't.
If we were like Dallas's offensive line or something like that, where they could stand there and pass block. But thinking about it again, though, David, we're a running team. So Tom Brady doesn't have to have the biggest arm anymore. He just has to be smart and get the ball out, right? And again, then he only has to hand the ball off to CMC, or maybe we use more of the running game and Mitchell and JP Mason. But I think it's not necessarily me or you. I think this is a conversation, is an argument that's been going on and on. It's been going back and forth because every time Tom Brady's mentioned, he's tied to the 49ers because, again, he said he wanted to play for the 49ers. The 49ers didn't pick him up. We know we went after Carmazzi. And from there, we didn't pick the right guy. And I don't know. Tom Brady, he got to a situation. It was the right moment for the right time. It's kind of maybe like what's happened for Brock Purdy, right? A quarterback gets hurt at the right time and he comes in and he's on a team that's stacked and he's able to manipulate and orchestrate the offense. You kind of look at what happened with the Patriots. Drew Bledsoe went down. Tom Brady comes in as a rookie, a very young player, and he takes a team to the Super Bowl. So if you ask him to do it as a veteran, he's kind of already done it twice, and now we've whiffed on him twice. So again, I think this is just people making noise because right now he's trying to become an owner to the Raiders, but that's not been finalized. So I don't think he can do it because I don't think it would be fair to Brock Purdy. But then again, it's not about one player. It's about the team. And if they really think that this guy can come in and win, but I don't think that's the whole thing. I don't think Tom Brady wants to play a whole season. Do you?
I honestly don't think so. I think it might be he can just kind of kick back and wait, see if an injury like what happened to Burrow in Cincinnati last year, see if something like that happens. Because they do have a pretty good football team over there. And if Burrow stays healthy, then they would have been a menace in the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't. He got injured for the second time in his career. I believe, what has he been in the league? 5 years now?
Mm-hmm.
Is it something like that? But yes, the second time in his career. And the first time it was a season ender. Then he came back. Then they actually went to the playoffs. And I think that's the year they beat KC and lost to the Rams in the Super Bowl. I think it was that was his comeback year from an ACL. But I could be wrong. I'm not a Bengals fan, folks. I'm all about the 49ers, if you can't tell by looking at my background.
Well, I just think, again, it's like history is repeating itself. It's like these two entities, these two big cosmic forces are trying to come together, and every time they come together, it's like they're being pushed apart. Is it karma? Is it destiny for Tom Brady to be ultimately a 49er? I don't know. But what is funny and what is weird? You got somebody like Joe Montana, right? Joe Montana wins 4 Super Bowls for the 49ers. He had number 13 when he was playing in high school. That's pretty interesting. He wore number 3 when he was in college. He wore number 16 with the 49ers, 19 with the Chiefs. What do all these numbers mean? Well, they add up, and there's coincidences and similarities, right? The Niners have won 4 Super Bowls, and then they win 5. Now we've lost 3. The Chiefs have just won 3. We didn't do Joe Montana right. Some people think we did him really wrong, right? Maybe it was the right move to move off of him, but the Niners went with the hotter hand, I guess you could say. They did it again with Alex Smith. Alex Smith goes to the Chiefs, right? And we had a couple quarterbacks in between there that went to the Chiefs from the 49ers. It's like we're a quarterback farm for the Chiefs. So they've been like mimicking the way we design offenses. They've been mimicking the way we have quarterback. They like what we're picking, right? They like our goods. we don't like him for very long, right? And we're like, okay, well, they're saying we can do something with that guy. So we let Alex Smith go to the Chiefs. And he goes to, again, kind of like a situation where like Tom Brady was in, he goes to a good team. The Chiefs were a good team. They had Andy Reid. So Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan have very similar paths right now. Kyle just hasn't found his quarterback, or maybe he has with Brock Purdy. It's just, again, why do they keep bringing this stuff up? Would they be talking about it right now if Kyle won last season? I don't know. I think they still would. And for people to say, oh, Kyle wouldn't work with him because he's not over the 28-3 thing, sooner or later, you're either not going to win a Super Bowl because you don't have enough time left, or you're going to have to, I don't know, work with people you don't like, I guess. I don't know, David. Do you think, do you think ultimately he really cares who he's winning the Super Bowl with? Or do you think that's his ultimate problem, is he's got to win the Super Bowl with his guys?
I honestly think he's just got to win the Super Bowl with his guys, Yeah. And we never know what's going to unfold this offseason. That could even be. Now, where did this report come from?
This report about Tom Brady coming out, there's a video of him talking. There's a video of him talking, and I can pull up the video. That's what's really funny, is it just keeps coming out. The reason
I'm asking is, how credible a lot of this off-season stuff is. It's just plain not, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. He come out and said it. He was on camera and everything talking about it.
But, well, while we're doing that, we signed a corner.
Mm-hmm.
Year contract, Rock Ya-Sin, and it's from the Ravens. I looked at his career numbers, and he started for the Colts quite a bit, but not every game. It's kind of weird. So I don't know. If he's a excellent backup special teamer, but it doesn't actually look like he's made it through a whole season, because his first season was 15, second and third were 13, fourth was 11, and his fifth season was 14 games. So I don't know. Like, that could be camp body. Let's see if he makes the playoffs. Tackles wise, he actually has quite a few in his first 4 years, but he was with Baltimore last year. Levi, maybe you can tell us about this guy. And he only had 13 from 9, so that tells me that he was probably primarily a special teamer with the Ravens last year.
You like him?
Yeah.
You like him?
Here we go. He lost his job to Ronald Darby last year. And guys were signing off the street. Oh, and guys that they were signing off the street. So more than likely a camp body, and see if he makes the team type of thing. We do have to have 93. We got to have 93 fellas out there, no matter what they do. Could be the postman, grocery bagger. If you think you have a shot at making the team and you're on that 93, there's a chance. And the whole, so you're telling me there's a chance thing. If you don't know the movie, folks, then I'm going to tell you got to watch it. It's a classic.
Okay, so Tom Brady just recently come on a podcast called Deep Cuts with Vic Blends. And he was asked about potentially coming on, like, hey, what happens, So there's a, would you pick up the phone, and make the, would you answer the call? And he said, yeah. So there's a couple teams that he threw out there again, and then he's not opposed to going to a Super Bowl team. And, I just think it's just weird, David. Again, it's history coming out, continuing to be said, because why? There's nothing else in the news to be talking about. Last time we were talking about, he's only 46 years old. Last time we were talking about, he said he couldn't come out to play because he's got a kitty cat that he's got to take care of. Yeah. Remember we were talking about Tom Brady potentially playing for the 49ers when he was playing for Tampa Bay, and he wanted to retire. Well, he wanted to spend time with his daughter, but she had just gotten a kitty cat. So you know that takes up a
Oh,
lot
so
of
we had to train the cat.
so now the cat's trained,
Now, now,
so
now that's a hard thing to do, folks. Training a cat. That's a really hard thing to do.
so
They just don't want to listen to you.
now he's got free time, so he can come to the Niners and play, right? So I again, I know you're not necessarily the biggest fan of him, but I gotta say it, David. I think if you get him on the team, I'm not sold on the Pasternak. I'm not, and Kellen Mond and who's our other guy? Alan Duck. No, Brandon Allen Duck. Right? No,
Brandon Duck Allen.
thank you. Duck is
it
his
right
middle
there,
name,
buddy.
folks. Duck is really his name, and
Yeah, Duck is his middle name. I don't know who his parents are. Probably, from them their hills, right?
Everybody's got their own middle name, right? Mine's Lynx. Lynx, Lynx. It's like a cat. If you know what a bobcat looks like, there's a cat called Lynx. So I guess like maybe his parents really like ducks. My mom and dad, aren't really particular big fans of lynxes. They just thought it was a neat name. So shout out to parents naming their kids neat names. At least my name's not like Rainbow Stripe or anything like that. I'm very proud to be called not ugly, right? So
You never know. There could be a story we don't know behind the name. Like, the mother's giving birth and she yelled duck out to the dad because she thought that things were just happening, and yet, like, you never know, right?
So Paul's asking a question, and sorry, chat. It's not that we're ignoring you. We just, me and David start talking sometimes, and we get our cup of coffee, and we just start. And if you're not here with a cup of coffee,
Scott Hill's actually asking a question too, Paul Hope, but
this is a great. And again, we're not trying to ignore you, folks. We do a lot of drafts together, and David, would you like to tell everybody who you'd like to take, or better yet, would you like to tell everybody who I think the 49ers will take? And you want 2 or 3 guesses? Because I think you can nail it with the first.
Bryant in our mock draft series has taken Bo Nix, quarterback from Oregon.
And why?
I personally, I've traded up for J.C. Latham quite a few times. He's I just honestly think he physically, he's a beast. He has played quite a few games in college, so he has a good experience there against tough competition, right? And, and the guy's a monster. It could be future replacement for Trent Williams. So that's a guy I've kind of focused on. But then you have, what is it, Troy Fuaga? Mm-hmm. Isn't that his name? He's come up a lot. There's Talise. I'm not going to try to say his last name, but I believe he's primarily a right tackle, right? Isn't that, so he might not be a Trent Williams replacement, but if we're looking at replacing Trent Williams after he leaves, then there you go. We got our future right tackle. But I'm honestly looking at the tackle spot. And the main reason why is we signed McKivitz to a 1-year extension, so we have him for 2 more years. Mm-hmm. And McKivitz has played guard, folks. He has played guard. Who he struggled against last season in pass blocking was the speed rushing edges that a lot of NFL teams have these days, right? So how you negate that is you move him inside to right guard. Now whoever he's playing against has got to go through him, not around him. And they're going to have a problem because you ain't getting through McKivitz that easy. And then, all of a sudden we have a guy on the right side that physically, mentally can take care of those speed rushers and keep them off of our QB. And you never know what the offense is going to do, right? So, and it's Brock Purdy's contract year, so I'd love to see him kept clean and, rack up some yards and, make a big problem for our front office this next offseason. I would love to see that happen.
I'd love to see it too, but the reason I don't think we're doing offensive tackle, and I think why I don't think we're going to do it, because we won't play him. Offensive tackle, rookie, first rounder, we're not going to play him. it's almost going to be a wasted pick. I think we end up
Now,
waiting.
Bryant,
And there-
all the rookies Kyle's ever took, who have we seen start? The position players, 0, right? Brandon Ayuk actually earned a spot. He's the only guy.
Mhm.
Off the trench players, defensive line and offensive line, we've seen guys, Nick Bosa, who, he's really good, folks. Let's be honest here. You know, Javon Kinlaw came in and started, right? And then we had Spencer Burford on the right side. He came in and was starting his first year. He was, rotating with Brunskill,
Mhm.
but he still came in and started. So out of all the rookies, positions we can take, offensive line does have a pretty good chance of actually starting with Kyle.
Go through your
But the
offensive
position player, no chance. You're redshirted.
Go through your offensive line players again, and let's talk about them and why they played.
The offensive line guys.
Mm-hmm.
So J.C. Latham,
Mm-hmm.
the Troy Fuaga, and Taliz, the right tackle, the primary right tackle. I mean, then you do have other guys, but I've watched a lot of tape on Tyler Guyton, and you know who he reminds me of?
These are 49er players. 49er players.
Current 49er players.
Yes, that's what I wanted to address is the offensive line 49er players that are been rookies that we've selected and why they have played. Because the only ones that I know that's actually got to play during the rookie season was due to injury.
And Spencer Burford took the starting job because Brunskill had didn't he have an ankle thing going on?
So if it wasn't,
he still started though. He still started.
If it wasn't for injury, Kyle wouldn't have played the trench player on the offensive line. So that's where I'm getting at. And I'm like, if it's about size, right? If it's about size, then why aren't we putting Gutierrez out there?
Dude, Gutierrez is a mountain of a man. I mean,
he's been out there for so long on our team. And if it's because our quarterback's so short, right? Then why aren't we let me fix that problem right there, right?
Hey, look at Drew Brees and Russell Wilson when he was in his heyday. That they could still get the ball out, right?
Mm-hmm. But they play like backyard football a little bit, where they scramble around, and then the offensive lineman shifts a little bit, and then the wide receivers break loose because the corners give up on their protection, and then again offensive, backyard football, and then boom. But with Brock Purdy, he's playing to Kyle Shanahan's scheme. So we can't have these super tall offensive linemen, even though they sound good. On paper, it sounds great, but we can't be throwing through mountains because our quarterback's not somebody who can see over the mountain. And it sucks because I was a quarterback and I'm not very tall at all. I wasn't 5'7" when I was in high school. I was more like 5'5" if I was lucky. And that's with wearing cleats, and cleats have, that much more, you could stand up a little taller in cleats, folks. So that's what I'm getting at again. And so for me, David, I'm looking at who, if we did take somebody in the first round, who is going to have value and who is potentially going to start. The reason I say maybe take a quarterback, even though it's like, we don't really need a quarterback. We might need a quarterback if this quarterback gets hurt right now. Unless you're really sold on, again, the 3 quarterbacks we just talked about, the one, Kellen Mond, who's been on multiple teams, the Pasternaut, who's been on multiple teams, even in a season. What's that saying to you when you have a guy who leaves one team and goes to another team, and then they want to get rid of him right as soon as they can? It sounds like nobody's really sold on him. He might be really smart. He might be, athlete, but it doesn't sound he's like, is he fitting in with the locker room? Does he need to find his spot? I don't know if San Francisco's it. But again, we shouldn't be this like place where everybody can come and like have a resurgence. We're not a charity. We are not a halfway house or anything like that where people can come back and get their life straight. This is a football team, and we need to select good players and start out with good players, right? So I'm still looking at exactly what we're trying to do is who are we going to be able to get with the first round that's going to continue to have, value. If Kool-Aid falls to us at 31, I think we take Kool-Aid. I don't think we trade up to 20 or 15. If we do,
well,
it's got to be.
Honestly, that's not necessarily a bad plan reports have come out, and I don't know the sources. I think it's more reliable sources that the Niners are actually in talks with Lenore on an extension. So, and Lenore and Javarius Ward are both free agents after next year. So it's a question of who do you keep, right? And if you're building for the long term, you want to try to build a dynasty, which you have to win a Super Bowl, Kyle, before I can actually call it that.
Yeah.
Kyle, talking to you, buddy. But you have to make choices like this, right?
Mhm.
You could extend Javarius Ward. He's an all-pro, though, and that's going to be expensive. So Lenore he's a really good corner. He's proven he can do anything cornerback related. He can play nickel, he can play outside, he'll do whatever the team needs him to do. And he's young. Totally fits us. He hits like Greenlaw, and he actually, covers really good, right? So, these are the type of decisions that need to be made. Who do you keep? Because you can't keep both. And we could say that about wide receiver too, right?
Yep.
But I think there's something we don't know about going on there.
Yeah.
Because Debo is under contract for 2 more seasons. He's on his 5th-year option this next year. So if you extend Ayuk, then you're only paying 2 quarterbacks for 1 year, right? And then Brock's contract will kick in when Ayuk becomes a free agent. Or not Ayuk, but Debo becomes a free agent. Debo, Kittle, Trent Williams. These are all great players, folks. Don't get me wrong. But, they're starting to age out.
Yep.
And it comes to a point where hard decisions have to be made. You can't keep these guys till they're 70 because once you hit a certain point, you're just not physically capable of doing it anymore, right?
Unless you're
Mentally too, though, right?
Unless you're Tom Brady, you can play till whenever, right?
Tom Brady be out there when he's 60 years old.
Yep, still trying to sign with the 49ers. And they'll be telling him no.
Have him some hearing aids in to, so he can hear the calls being, called into him. It's football stadiums are loud, folks.
Oh boy. So, David, you make a good point. You really, really do. And we'll have to see what happens. There's been a lot of good points made. We don't necessarily need the tallest quarterback. We need maybe better guards, like Levi was saying. The guards cost us the Super Bowl. Maybe the whole offensive line did. And that's the whole thing too. These guys had mental breakdowns, and not a full breakdown in the whole game, but there was just a play where somebody made a mistake. It's even happened to, I've said it before, Trent Williams. When you send somebody in motion for a quarterback sneak and they don't get set the right way, and then the quarterback, whose fault is it? The guy who is not set properly, or the guy who, I don't know. Both of their faults, right? But it's the same thing. Why do you have to be cute in certain plays? It was 3rd and 4, David. They could have ran the ball. 3rd and 4, they could have ran the ball and got to what? 4th and 1?
Got a little something going on in the chat because I don't think either of us are paying attention because we're into the show. But I do not know what happened. Everybody stay calm and get along now.
Yeah, I don't know what happened either.
But
oh, maybe, sorry, somebody might have put somebody in timeout. It happens sometimes.
So Terradome saying taller, well, and that's a fact, Terradome. Those taller quarterbacks typically don't work out. Like, I think Ben Roethlisberger was 6'5", and maybe Peyton Manning, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like the majority of the extra tall quarterbacks just don't work out. They're all like somewhere between 6'1", 6'4", that range. And I don't know exactly why. A lot of people think it has to do with their release, and what they got to do there, right? And like a tall quarterback, typically they have kind of a long, clunky release, and in NFL, it's all about, it's a game of inches, right? So if you have a long, clunky release, it's taking you some extra inches to get that out. So, and it's just true. Like Brock Osweiler, I think he was like, wasn't he like 6'6", 6'7", something like that? He was crazy tall. But, I don't think so. Brock Purdy, I believe he's 6 foot. Isn't that what he's listed as?
Teardown might know. I don't have that one down as I can Google it. I don't.
But we were talking about backyard football a little earlier, though. And Brock Purdy, he brings that factor to our offense because he's got some wheels. If the protection's breaking down before someone gets open, he can squirt out of there and look on downfield, or take off running. That, and he proved that a few times, right?
Yeah.
So. There it is. Brock Osweiler is 6'7". Oh, Brock Purdy's 6'1". He's not that short. He's not like Kyler Murray reporting to be 5'10", but if you actually look at him on the field, he's more looking like he's 5'6", 5'7", But.
And Scott Hill comes in with the same thing. So we got it confirmed as well. Scott Hill, love to have you on the show sometime. We got to find out if you got a Twitter or if you got Facebook. You can find me really easy. I'd like to have you come on. If you got time sometime, maybe tomorrow. Me and David will be streaming tomorrow. If you get into the show in the morning, we can drop the link and have you come on. We just talked 49er football. We have a mild conversation, try to get people's opinions and have fun. And, David, we're going to have the mock draft tonight. That sounds like it'll be a lot of fun again. It's getting closer and closer. And I think I'm going to say it again. I think we're going to take some wide receivers. I think we're going to take them at times when people think we don't necessarily need them. I think it's going to surprise some people. And I think the positions that we want them to take will be later in the rounds. I think if the Niners are really sold on taking and invested in going after an offensive line this year, they're going to take it in the 6th and 5th rounds. I really think so. I think they're going to look at these guys that fit the scheme.
So you remember last year, right? Last year's draft.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things happened that surprised us, right? And a lot of that was in the 3rd round. They traded up. Oh, none of us saw that coming. They took a safety, which honestly, we have been, us as a fan base has been banging the table for a safety since the 2022 draft, right? And that's back before people saw Hufanga play, right before he played and he was an all-pro and all that stuff, right? And that whole offseason, I was saying Hufanga is going to start. And a lot of guys said, and I won't name names, said, nah, Hufanga's not, he's not good enough to start. He's not the guy. And, I've been watching football a long time. When I see a player that has the instincts and is just in the right place at the right time, you can't train that. You can't coach that. You can't teach that. It's special. And that's Hufanga. Will we be able to retain him because this is the last year of his rookie contract? We don't know. But they took a safety because, Jimmy Ward, he was getting old, becoming a free agent, right? I thought you froze for a second. You hold too still, Bryant. You had me. But and then, then what did we do? Right? We took the kicker. Nobody saw us. Actually, I can't say nobody saw us doing this because there's this one guy right here who picked him in the 3rd round. So someone saw us doing it. Just, he may have been the only one that saw us doing that, but he saw us. Okay?
And we took him. I thought we were going to take him too because the Niners used their other pick to move up. So I'm like, because I said we were going to take him with the 99, and boy, wow, they surprised me when they jumped ahead with Jair, and that wasn't a bad idea. The tight end, we'll see if that works out. But
dude, the tight end, that's something no one saw coming too. All three of those picks, none of us saw this coming. So what I'm getting at is, what can we actually expect the Niners to do? Right?
Yeah.
They're not going to leak any info on who they're actually thinking about at the 31 spot, because then other teams are going to be like, I could take this guy and keep them from getting their guy. Now we got a guy.
Yeah.
Right? And we don't need that happening. But I mean, are they looking at, watching the tackles, and once the top 3 or 4 tackles are off the board, they go, or hit pause on the draft like we do and trade up, which that you can't hit pause on the draft. But get on the phone, call that other team, have a Zoom meeting, be like, yo, what's it going to take here? But we have no idea. Day 1 of the draft, it's the first round, right? And then day 2 is the second and third, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then day 3, which is Saturday, is the rest of the draft. And we plan on doing a show. I actually scheduled time off of work, which by the time I'm through doing the little bit of revamp and clean up and organization work that need to be done, I'm probably going to need it.
Well, we will definitely make it a lot of fun. If anybody wants to pop in, we will have the link where anybody who wants to reach out and come in, we'll be able to do that as well. We will be doing it for the whole draft. It is a long time, so don't mind David and me. We will be merry. We will be happy. We will be eating and drinking. We will be also telling jokes back and forth. You're in the chat and you throw out something, we will be definitely highlighting it, but we will be doing our draft coverage. So when the draft and the pick is in, we will be dropping what we have to drop and saying the pick and talking a little bit about the pick and then going. And as the draft continues to go, we're going to try to give as much coverage as we can. And maybe we'll have some sound effects. Maybe we'll have some different things that can happen. And it'll be a lot of fun. It will be streamed on both me and David's channel, and we're working out if anybody else will be doing that with us as well. So it's a lot of fun.
I can't wait. It's like, because I kind of have an idea of what the Niners do draft wise, which, it's just based off of the draft picks, folks. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm basing it off of. This upcoming draft, like I said, no idea. We could take a wide receiver with that first pick. We could take a corner. If we take a running back, you're probably gonna have to mute me because YouTube will give you a strike.
Well, it depends on what round, right? Because if they take a running back in the 3rd round, I'm going to start just laughing. I'm going to laugh. I might laugh and I might cry a little bit. I might say some words as well. But then if it turns out to be that guy, the one who can, pick up the ball and take it to the finish line and, we hoist the Lombardi afterwards, then, everything will be forgiven, right? That's why I like how draft grades happen at first. It's like, because it's supposed to be graded on their projections of what they are projected to do. But if something happens, you don't know, right? You just don't know. So when you go back and you look a couple years later, you're like, oh, wow, that's your draft grade? Yeah, shout out to you, Dante Pettis. Yeah, we're looking at you, bro. There's just some guys you just, maybe they're just not our fit. So that's, again, like the Niners, the guys in the, later rounds, those are the ones that you should really be like interested after they do come out. Those are the ones that go study those players and find out, a little bit more about them, look at their tape, go watch Brock Purdy's highlights in his college games or even a full college game. He's pretty good. So it's definitely something to look into. We're going to probably figure out what's the best way to go about it. And draft day is coming, guys. Mock's going to be tonight. David left. He'll be back here in a second. We'll be probably getting some coffee. And tonight, I don't know who's all going to be on.
And taking care of a sneezing attack. Y'all didn't need that in your ears.
I don't know who all will be on your show tonight. If you're having a bigger draft or you're having, what's your thoughts on your draft tonight?
Well, of course I'm going to have you, and I'll send you the link so you can get it to Kenny if he can join.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm honestly don't know if Terror Dome can join us, but he will be invited.
Yeah.
Tonight I'm going to kind of keep it smaller, because last draft we did a multi-team draft. It was kind of big, and tonight I kind of keep it smaller because I'm just trying to limit the amount of people that are on the panel, because everyone's got something to say, and the more people you have on, the longer it's going to take to get through one subject, right? I mean, that's just a fact, folks. It's not, I don't like people. I like people. It's just, we're all trying to get through the subjects and, make the stream more coherent, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, tonight I'm thinking you, Kenny, and Terror Dome, if he can make it, and I'll DM him the link, and maybe he'll let me know if he can or can't. And that's pretty much it, And then we'll, draft up based off of what Kyle and John have done to this point, So I don't know. Well, I seriously don't know if we're taking a running back in the third. This is possible, folks. This is possible.
Well, it seems like it's been working out for them in a certain way, right? They take a running back, they keep them on the team for maybe a year, and then they release them, or they get another comp pick or something out of, and they keep on turning them into Philadelphia Eagles. So I don't know. And we've done it before in the past too, where we've let players go to the Eagles. So I don't know. Maybe we're crazy.
So I'm just reading the chat. That's what I'm chuckling about. Geez, guys. But so Trey Sermon, we all remember him. He was the first third rounder. TDP was the second. Trey Sermon had to come in and fill for some injury guys, right? And for injury, he had to come in, and he actually did an admirable job. He looked pretty good in our offense. And then, next off season, all of a sudden he's getting cut. It's like, maybe he's just not good at practice, right? Maybe he's just not good at practice, not good at OTAs. But once you put him in the game, all of a sudden he's good. And it's hard to judge a player when you don't play them, right? Like our tight ends, the two rookies we took in 2023, we don't know enough about them to know they're going to be whatever. We don't even know if they're going to make the team, right? And that's kind of sad, right?
Well, that's why I like the team too, and I kind of like how the Niners are, playing. It doesn't necessarily mean you're drafted in an early round. You're going to start. You're going to play. They've showed it in several different ways. Character has a lot to do with this team, and you believing in another player and doing your job means a lot. There was, it's a lot of people put on Kyle, but if you look at it, it's because of Kyle that the team has the attitude and the aggression that they have, because he was a wide receiver. He did know what he had to do, and maybe he wasn't the most athletic player, but he knew if he did his job, how vital or what a key component he would be to the team just by doing your job. You don't have to be the best player. You have to do your job. And I think by doing your job, you can allow other players on the team that might be more versatile or athletic get those, yards. But you got to think who blocked for that guy, right? Not, Debo can't make all the players on the other side of the field miss. I mean, he can, but can he do it every play? Barry Sanders couldn't do it every play either, right? If he could, then they would have won a Super Bowl, right?
That's right. So Tommy says you look like a high schooler with a fresh shave and the haircut. Hey, right? Maybe you need to grow you a mustache or something.
I'm telling you, the haircut, cutting the grass yesterday. I felt like a new man. I got it all clean shaven. We had Tony Nagatani on yesterday. It was a great show, really great show. If you guys got a chance to go watch it, check it out. If you haven't checked it out, please go and check it out. And check out David's as well. Real quick, David, before we get going, I wanted to run through the helmets real quick and show everybody. I'm going to present the screen. We got a couple more minutes, and I'd like to do this real quick. And we're going to go ahead. Boom.
Terror Dome, I will be a backup singer for that song if you need me to be, buddy.
All right, folks, if you can see the screen, these are our current helmets. And the reason I'm talking about that is because they're talking about potentially having a third helmet. So I'm not sure what the second helmet really is. David, you see the helmet right here, 2002, with the red and white and red stripe. Then in 1996, the 2008 helmet has the black stripes and the red. And that one,
I'm actually a fan of the black stripes, the red stripe, and the red face mask.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of that. I just like the look of it, you know.
Yeah, I like it. I like the old helmet, and when we were wearing these helmets back in the day, I wish we was wearing the other helmets, but now these helmets are gone. I'm more like, hey, maybe we could get those every once in a while. Maybe every once in a while that'd be kind of cool. And then now you have this helmet. So this is our other helmet with the old logo. I imagine that's the alternate helmet right now. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is over here in 1962 to 63, David, is that silver or gold in your opinion?
Now, what helmet we talking about over here on the right middle? That one?
Yeah, the right
looks
helmet.
Silver to me.
Yeah.
It does. It looks silver to me.
You have John Brody, and then I think this is the Geek, if I'm correct, or what's his name? Lou. I'm blanking on his name right now. And then down here, same thing. You got, I think, 1962 to 63 over to the side. That's John Brody. That looks more like a gold or a helmet. You got number 10 right here, and I can't tell if that's gold or silver. So this is what I'm getting at. There are silver helmets, 1960 to 61, folks. And look at the stripes on that helmet. That's the 49ers. Now over here, 1956 to 57, I can't tell you if that's a white helmet, David, if we really wore white helmets. But we did wear red helmets.
Well, back in the day, we might have wore white helmets. And what color, like in 1946, were they still wearing leather? They weren't. Weren't they actually wearing like real helmets by then?
1946 right here, the first picture on the right, that looks like that was the leather helmet or the starting of the newer style helmet. And then you got them over here in 1950 to 53. It looks like the same style helmet. That might be the leather helmet, but that looks like it's starting to be the newer age helmet without a face mask.
Open face mask too. That's like, dang.
Look at this one right here, 1953 to 56. This is a red helmet, but a clear face mask.
Wow.
Here, YT Tittle, number 14. So yeah, I would want to show everybody that. I thought it was a little interesting because right now, currently, the Niners are talking about potentially having another helmet. And there's been some pictures, the metallic gold helmet. Everybody's really kind of, in love with that one. It's kind of like the shiny gold wet paint.
Since you're talking about helmets, did the league make a rule that all the players have to use the same, like, design helmet?
No. As far as I understand, they can still pick their own helmet, but they have a list of helmets that they can pick from. They've outlawed some of the helmets, like the helmet Tom Brady used to wear, I believe, was outlawed, and Antonio Brown. And some of those helmets are outlawed, but I'll have to look into that. I did not hear that they're making them wear the same helmet, but.
Okay. Because, all the players that they have their preferences. And when it comes to player safety, look at that Niner that used to glue a helmet to his helmet. Come on, learn something, folks.
Yeah.
Right? And it was Steve Wallace, wasn't it? And he had a or was it Derek Deese? It wasn't Derek Deese, was
No,
it?
I don't think it was Derek Deese. I think
I
you're
think
right.
it was Steve Wallace.
Yeah.
But he had a helmet and he would glue a helmet over his helmet. There were games where that glued on helmet was just destroyed. And you know, it's like if he didn't have that second helmet on, what would have happened to the guy, right?
I want to go in. I'm going to do a little bit more research, and I need to do some more homework because I'm really interested in the CTE study. My wife is as well, and it can happen at any time to any person. Really, you could be born with it, or it could just happen because of a serious crash or a major hit. A concussion to your head. Your brain is a very delicate instrument in your body. It's the one thing that you really can't. Something happens, it can repair itself to only to a certain point. So you gotta be careful with your noodle. You gotta be careful with your brain. And I'm going to do a little bit more research, but I would like to find out, David, what the research says about rugby, because that's a very violent sport. And I'd like to see what the research says about hockey. And that's a very violent sport. And I want to see if they're having the concussions that football's having. Because eventually, like we were talking last night, they're either gonna ban it altogether, or everybody's gonna have to wear the same kind of body equipment, right? And everybody's gonna be in a bubble.
Look at that! Look at that! Look at how destroyed that helmet is. That's Steve Wallace, folks. It's like, and this is a better picture. Hold on. I can't use that one. Ooh, this one shows two players. The website is not sponsored. Hey. Yeah, the website is not sponsored, but they're actually talking about, concussion-proof helmets. That's what they're talking about. You got Steve Wallace and a Buffalo Bills player on the right there.
At a certain point, they have to figure out what's going to be safe for everybody that doesn't take the game away. Like we were talking last night, it's a game. But it's gladiators going out there to battle. They put on armor, they put on equipment to keep themselves safe. And, but they still have a chance. There's still a chance that there could be an injury, and that's the thing that you're going out there to face, is you're trying not to get hurt, but you're also trying to win. Because it's hard and you're trying to achieve something that, not everyone can say that they're the winner. If you give everybody a participation trophy, then it kind of diminishes the whole reason for going out there and, trying it all, right? Why do you want to run hard?
That second helmet he put on his helmet was called the Pro Cap, not sponsored, YouTube.
But David, why do you want to go and run hard if at the end of the day everybody's going to get a trophy?
That's exactly it. Hey, I think I've told you this story maybe. So my daughter, she was what was she? She was either 7 or 8. And we're driving back from a sporting event, the last one of the season, right? It was like the championship. And this was slow pitch softball, right? So her team got second place. And, but everyone got a trophy. Everyone's a winner, right?
Yeah.
She asked me on the way back, because I was taking her for some food and we were going to hang out, and then, I was going to take her back to her mom's, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she asked me while I was driving, Dad, is this a participation trophy? I have not once had a conversation with her about participation trophies. So it was like, I was kind of in shock for a second there. It's like, whoa, my kid knows, and I was like, yes, honey, it is. But, second place in the whole league, that's pretty good, but, at the NFL level, it's not getting it done, right? That's different. But, in sports, they're supposed to be having fun at that age. And that's what kids' sports are about.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have fun. Learn that it's good to have other people around, teammates, camaraderie, all that stuff. There's a reason why we have children's sports, right?
Yep.
And everyone gets a participation trophy per my, shout out to my daughter. She's a wise one, folks. She's not stupid. And I was like, it prompted me to ask, like, where did you hear about participation trophies? And she was like, well, I was at my grandpa's house and he was watching some video on, I think it was actually on YouTube. And this guy was talking about how his son got a participation trophy that should have won the championship. And she's like, he was an angry sports parent, So everyone who's listening, don't be that angry sports parent.
No. First off,
your kid's there to enjoy themselves, win or lose. They're supposed to be having fun. That's the whole point of it.
First off, exactly. You get them into something because you loved it yourself, right? Or they're saying, they want to be part of it, right? I'm sure there's several fans, several parents that are at games that don't want to be there, right? Or don't have anything to do with it. They're not athletic, but they're there to support their child, or they're there because maybe they're pushing their child to, do something, and then they all have something in common, right? Like, no, you're going to play baseball because afterwards you're going to understand, like, you're going to learn something from it. When you're on the football team, you're going to learn like what it means to be part of the team, or you're softball, or you're on the basketball team. You got to learn discipline. You learn, running around and what it takes to be a part of something, right? Dedication. You can get it through a lot of other things. It's not just sports, but sports is a beautiful thing when people come together and they achieve a goal and they get what they're supposed to get out of it. But if you're getting mad about it because you don't have a good team, and there's other ways, sure, you can yell at your kids and tell them, like, and coach them in a certain way. Like, coaching's changed a whole lot because everybody says you can't talk to people a certain way anymore, and that's true. You need to talk to people a certain way, but the whole everybody gets a participation trophy, I don't think that's the right way to go on about it. I think you should still say, okay, there is a reason, but again, to get mad because it's your. I don't know. It's everybody's way of, and it's about egos, and it's David, it's supposed to be about joy and happy and people being together and learning something. But when you have somebody like David Corona, our good friend, he's just an umpire. He's just calling the game so that people can come together and compete. And you're trying to fight the ref. Hey, at a certain point, we can't put robots out there, but maybe when we can put robots out there, are you going to try to fight the robot? At what point, is right and wrong? You can't keep turning a right and make it a left. It doesn't, and you do it again, you got to be good, right, David? At the end of the day,
yeah.
If you haven't been a coach before, folks, go try to be a coach. If you're not a parent, if you one day become a parent, cool. If you have an opportunity to like take your niece or nephew out or somebody like that and teach them something, that's cool. But remember, it's got to be a winner. There's got to be a loser. Sometimes you're not always on the right side, but sports does matter. Being a bad sports person, having bad sportsmanship. Some people are bad at losing, and I'm not happy when I lose either, but it's also not the end of the world, right? It's not the end of the world. We might get Tom Brady, David. So
it seems like it's every year there's going to be some stuff like this happening, buddy. Every year. It doesn't matter, we could have Brock Purdy signed to a huge contract. He could be an all-pro at that point, and every year they're going to be like, oh, the Niners, someone wants to come out of retirement. The Niners are on the list. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, especially like financially. We can't afford a quarterback at that price. We can't.
So everybody knows, I'm not saying do it. I'm not saying don't do it. I don't have really a say at all in it. But David, if he said he'd take the league minimum, or if he'd just come because he wants to help the Niners win that trophy. He's won enough, but he wants to help the Niners win a trophy. win a Super Bowl. I mean, I'll take bargain deal, right? Like, I just want to be part of the team. I want that participation trophy. I think we're always gonna have him in our talks because he was a fan. He was there. He seen the catch, right? You know, and hey, it's all just fun to talk about. But David, thank you so much for being on with me today. And tomorrow we'll be doing a show, folks. We stream on both channels, so make sure you jump in and say hello. We might have a guest on tonight. David's show tonight will be doing a draft. So if you get a chance and you're out and about and you want to listen to it on the phone, or if you want to, comment, throw out your suggestions in the chat, and we'll try to see if that player might be available. But until then, folks, go 49ers. Enjoy the noise, enjoy the rumors, and hey, keep learning, keep exploring. And if you're on a team, and you're getting close to a participation trophy, don't turn your head away and say no. It's if they give you a trophy, take it, right, David?
Well, if you can take it and do with it whatever you want, right? You don't have to put it on the mantle or in the case. It can go in the junk drawer if that's where it belongs, right?
If it's something you're proud about, keep it. If it's something that you can do without, hey, more power to you. It's about the experience, not necessarily the hardware, right? Hey, David, a lot of good players aren't in the Hall of Fame that should be, and a lot of players have won Super Bowls that might not have needed to. Sometimes the best teams don't necessarily win, and sometimes the worst teams sometimes get away with it, right? So yep. Thank you, man, and we'll talk soon, folks. Thank you so much for coming. Hope you had a good cup of coffee with us, and we will talk to you next time. Go Niners!
Hey, go Niners! Mock draft coming up tonight, folks. Please pull up.